Make your mistakes slowly. When you start getting in the big stuff, you don't want to make as many mistakes. You're still going to make them. I make them too, right? And then you got to know how to handle those mistakes when you make them. You go fess up and go, oh, very sorry about that. Apologize. That won't happen again. Boom. You don't say, oh, that happened because I ran out of gas, or because, this person got in my way and they didn't send me the information on time and blah, blah, blah. You don't throw anybody under the bus. You take responsibility. You just say, won't happen again. And they know. They know the way that it works. They know that there's a sequence of events that happen that perhaps, when you just take responsibility for it, it's done. It's over. They don't have to think about it anymore. You learned the lesson. You're onward. And that's good, right? I remember one time I forgot to roll. Oh, I was so nervous. It always happens when you're nervous. It was the afternoon call time, like a 2 p.m. call time. It's a director that is a big director. I don't work with him that much, and the producer loves me, so he just keeps calling me in when he can, when the regular person's not available. So I remember we're setting up, it's 2 o'clock call time. They'd been shooting already earlier in the day, so I was showing up later. So we're rigging the car, I've got the storyboards, figuring out what's going on. I don't know why, but that day I felt just nervous. And so we do the very first take, and I could have swore I hit the record button. I mean, that's my job. I got the headsets on. I say sound speed. The camera claps. I'm looking right at the monitor. I should have hit the record button. And so I'm listening to the take. I'm like, doing my job, except I wasn't rolling. And then I look at the recorder to stop the recorder, and I didn't hit the record. I'd never hit the record button. I'm like, hey, hitting stop. There's no stop to hit because I never hit record. I'm like, fuck. Now that moment is painful. I have never experienced this feeling outside of the film industry. Never live on camera, never any time have I felt just the massive amount of adrenaline that just comes into your body where you can barely talk. Oh yeah, it's huge. And you're just like, shit. So I'm like, okay, you fucked up. Better go take care of this right now. So I go up, I talk to the first AD, who happened to be from New York City, and he's a really gruff guy. And so I'm like, hey, Mike, I didn't roll on that one. Sorry about that. And I didn't tell the director. I told the first AD. And he goes, why the fuck not? Because he's from New York. LA guys would never say that, right? And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, don't let it happen again. And so I'm like, believe me, I won't. And I go back. And I'm just like, oh, I felt good that I said it. I told them, they know that. I told script supervisor, put it in your notes. She's like, okay, no problem. I can say that it was kind of like a rehearsal, because it was, we never did a rehearsal. So I'm like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's right. But in commercials, oftentimes we don't rehearse. We just go boom, right into it. The first take, you can, if I was going to make a mistake, it's best I did it on the very first take, right? Yeah. So then the rest of the day went fine. Everything was fine. And since it was in the script notes, and I might have even called the editorial, just to say, hey, oh, heads up, by the way, the very first take, everybody knows this, but the very first take is no good because sound didn't roll. Now, notice how I said that. I took responsibility for it, but I didn't say, I fucked up, I didn't roll. I said, I'm just saying, hey, I just want to give you this information. Sound didn't roll. Now, it could be that they might have told me it was MOS. It could have been that the camera rolled, but sound didn't know. The way you say things is very important. I hope that makes sense. Like on set, I'm taking responsibility, but I'm not going to throw myself under the bus in the way that I word things, like if I don't have to later, right? It's all about being smart. You're going to understand all these little ways of doing it. So then what happens, because all editorial needs to know is like, okay, it was supposed to be that way. See, this is all that they need to know. Then they're like, okay. Because if they get it and there's like, oh, there's no sound, then what they're going to do is they're going to email the producer, the whole production team, who are the ones that hired me, and myself, and DIT, and they're going to say, hey, there was no sound on this. We're looking for the sound, real concerned. They're doing their job, but big alarm for them and like, hey, by the way, guys, you just gave us footage that it's no good. So then everybody's like, oh, what about the sound? Then there's this whole email chain that will happen. So you try to nip this in the bud if you make mistakes. This is just an example of how a professional works, why I work so much. There's a reason. Other people would be like, okay, tell the script supervisor, put it in the notes, and then, they got the information. If they don't find the information, it's not my fault. It was there. That's the way that you don't work. And even though you did the right thing, they will still get the calls. It'll make you look bad. You won't get hired again. So did you enjoy that? If so, go to breakinprofessionally.com and just sign up. It's free and you will learn a ton. Okay, have a great day, guys. Bye.